Hey everybody, welcome back to Angora Aura's Knitting. Today I'm going to show you how to make a very beginner friendly sweater on my bulky knitting machine. And in each of the steps I tell you how many needles to cast on, how many rows, and exactly how to make this sweater. So I wanted to make a video that kind of shows just a simple sweater construction, and this is a drop shoulder. We basically have two rectangular panels on the front and the back with a shaped neckline. We've left the bottom hem of the sweater and the bottom of the sleeves just the rolled edge. I did add a kind of faux rib neckline up here just to kind of tie it all together. Let's get started. This is the yarn that I got. It's by Karen and it's called Macchiato Cakes. This yarn is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I just really loved the color on this. It's almost like neon. The colorway is Atomic Aqua. I just wanted to show my sketchbook here and what I have my settings at. So I found with this yarn the tension mast works well at 6. I've got the tension dial at 7. You can see my gauge. I've got 3 stitches for 1 inch and 5 rows for 1 inch. You can see at the bottom hem of the sweater we're going to be casting on 74 needles, so 37 left needles and 37 right. And then we're going to be knitting straight up 60 rows. We're going to mark the underarm and then we're going to knit to 84 rows and then we're going to set up for the neckline shaping. We are going to begin by casting on 74 needles. So I'm going to just pull out 37 needles on the left side of 0 and 37 needles on the right side of 0. I will be doing an E-wrap cast on. Just E-wrap all the way across the needles. Once you've E-wrapped, put your yarn in the carriage. Make sure that your tension dial is on 7 and that your row counter is on 0. I've actually got my tension mast at 5, which works well for this yarn. So I'm gonna knit 1 row across. That'll get easier. All right, so just make sure everything knit. Now, after doing the first row, I like to bring all the needles back out to D position so that we can kind of add a few rows of the fabric before we add the weights on, and so they don't fall off. Now I will be knitting 60 rows straight up. I just knit 4 rows, pulling the needles out to D position just so they don't fall off. And now I'm gonna add some weights. Got my weights added, and now I'm going to knit 60 rows straight up. I've just finished knitting 60 rows straight up. Your row counter should be at 60. Grab a scrap piece of yarn and we're gonna mark either edge needle because this is gonna be where the bottom of our sleeve starts. So I'm just gonna pull out this needle that's at the very edge and I'm gonna put a piece of yarn on it like that. Same thing with the other side. But now the next step in the pattern is we're gonna knit to 84 rows. So we're just gonna knit straight up until our row counter says 84. So I just knit straight up to 84 rows, and now we're gonna set up for our neckline shaping. This is the panel that I already made, and as you can see, it's basically a rectangle with a sloped neckline. And you're going to make both panels the exact same, so the front and the back are gonna slightly slope. We're at 84 rows right now. We're gonna shape the right side. So since the side that your carriage is closest to is the side you are gonna shape first. Before you start shaping your neckline, be sure that you put your Russell levers to 1 on both sides. We're gonna pull out 2 needles. We're gonna pull out 2 needles left of 0 to D position and 2 needles right of 0. So you're gonna start with 4 here and then push the rest of the needles on the left side of 0 out to D position, because we are not working on this side right now. So we're going to knit across. And then we are going to wrap this needle. Needles, it's kind of getting stuck in the brush there. And then we're gonna knit back across. Then you're gonna pull out 2 more needles, knit across. Wrap it, knit back across. Then we're gonna pull out 2 more needles. We're pulling out 2 needles each time we do this, and we're gonna do that up until we have 12 needles on the right side. Pull 2 more out. If I can grab the yarn, wrap it. Two more. And now we're on our last 2. So this, now that we've shaped this is our neckline, and then the shoulder is right here. I'm gonna knit 4 rows just right here, and I'm not wrapping it, just to give the shoulder a little height. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh, that didn't sound good. 4. You can see what it's looking like here, and the row counter is at 100. I'm gonna bind off just these shoulder stitches. The ones that are still in work on this right side, we're gonna bind off. Last one here. Now I'm gonna cut the yarn. And I just take this stitch off. I use the latch hook tool to kind of crochet it through. Now these needles are all out of work. And just go ahead and take that off. So if you remember, I started on this side and we shaped the side that was closest to the carriage. So now we need to shape this side. So we're gonna move the carriage to the left side of the bed, but you want to keep these needles to the right of 0 in D position, but we want to start knitting these, so I'm going to move these back to C position. Now I'm going to move all of these back to C position on the left side of 0, except for the 2, because remember we started with 4 in the middle, which was 2 left and 2 right of 0. So I've got the 2 here on the left side of 0 still out. Push all those back to C. Move your carriage over. Here is a visual of that. All of these I pushed back to C, and I've got these are still out in D position, and don't forget the 2 that need to be out in D position on the left side of 0. We're going to be shaping it the exact same way. Go ahead and knit 1 row. Same thing, wrap that last needle, knit across, pull 2 forward, wrap it, so we just shaped the left side, and now we're at 112 rows in total. Now we're about to knit to 116 because we need to do our 4 rows for our left shoulder. Our left side is shaped here. Now we can bind off this left shoulder, and then I will show you what I'm gonna do next. We've bound off both shoulders, and now we're left with the neckline. What we're gonna do is rehang 4 stitches. You can see that these are the 4 rows that we knit on either side for the shoulder height. And we're gonna rehang those 4 and knit 1 row across and then bind off so that it just kind of has a seamless transition from where we shaped the neck to here. So yeah, I'm just going to look at my work. Let's see, 1, 2, let's see, 1, there it is, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same thing on the right side. Find your 4 stitches. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we are going to knit 1 row across. Be sure and remember to put your carriage back on 2 on both sides for the Russell levers. I'm going to add the yarn back in, and we're just going to knit 1 row across. Okay, come on. Now I'm gonna bind this off. We have 2 panels made the exact same way, so when you finish that one, just make another one. This was the first one that I made, and I steamed it. So I'm gonna steam this one that we just did, and then we're going to seam up one shoulder. Let's pin them together just to see how it looks on right now. You can see we have our neckline. It's the same in the front and the back. So next we're going to seam up one shoulder, and once we have the sleeve knitted, this will drop down into a dropped shoulder, and we are going to seam up one side and then knit one sleeve. So don't seam up this side because we're going to create a band up here. I am just going to be seaming this up. It doesn't matter which shoulder you do, but I'm going to be doing this on my linker. Here is the shoulder seam that we just stitched up, and now we are going to rehang and knit one sleeve. So I've got my work hung back onto the knitting machine, and I rehung it until the marker, the yarn marker that we put to the underarm. It says 31 needles on the right side, 31 on the left. Now we get to do our sleeves. Be sure you reset your row counter to 0. I'm going to add the yarn back in, and we're going to knit across. This first row might be a little rough, but we'll see. It's just the yarn getting stuck. Well, that actually went smoother than I anticipated, and it looks like everything joined great. There's our sleeve. I knit 100 rows for the sleeve, and now I'm gonna bind off. We finished one sleeve, and now we are going to make a neckband. We're not gonna be seaming this shoulder yet, but I'm gonna show you how to make a folded over neckband on the machine, and then we're gonna rehang the neckline and attach it. So this is folded over. It looks like ribbing, but it is not. It is just every other needle. And when we do this, we will have a lower tension setting. So I did this on tension dial 3. Now our main work was on 7, but this is on 3. For the neckline, we will begin by pulling out every other needle, and we are going to be casting on 65. $30, $31, $32, $33, $34. I'm up to 34 on this, on the left side, and then I'm up to 31 here on the right side. Just make sure that you have 65 needles. I'm gonna begin by casting on with waste yarn. My tension dial is on 3. Hang my weights, knit a few rows in waste yarn. We are now going to switch to our main yarn. I'm going to reset the row counter to 0, and we are going to knit 8 rows at tension dial 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Change your tension dial to 5. Knit 1 row at 5. Tension dial goes back to 3. Knit 8 more rows. Now we are going to do the folded part. I'm just going to remove these weights. Grab your transfer tool, and we are going to lift up our stitches here onto the open needle. So it's the stitch that's connected to the waist yarn down here. And we're going to hook that on there. It's really nice because you can see it right here against the purple, and this chunky yarn is really nice to work with. I'm kind of loving this bulky knitting machine. Push everything out to D position. Everything is out. I'm going to add some weights. I'm changing the tension dial to 4, and now I'm going to knit across. Perfect. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hang the neckline of our sweater.
Riding the wind through the canyon. And
okay, it is time for the reveal of the neckband. I just cast it off. I'm really excited to see. Y'all know what time it is now. We are going to join the other shoulder here and then knit the other sleeve, and we're almost done. But the neckband turned out really well. I've got the sweater all hung up. We're about to knit the second sleeve, and this is our last panel. So make sure your row counter's at 0 and put your tension dial back to our main tension, which is 7. And we're gonna knit 100 rows just like we did before. 100 rows straight up. Second sleeve is done. I'm gonna bind this off now. Everything is knit now, which is amazing. And now we are going to seam up this entire seam and this one. I'm going to turn the garment inside out and seam up both sides. So this is the sweater. I really hope that you all enjoyed this tutorial for this sweater, and I hope that you learned how to make your very first sweater using this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.